Hey, what's up everyone? Tim here from Everyday Tactical Vids, and we're kicking off our EDC series. Today we're going to be talking about small knives. And in this series, I'm going to define a small knife as a knife that is 3.5 inches or less when it's closed up. We've got a bunch of different folding knives here, and so no fixed blades in this actual part of the video series, but in a future video we'll be talking about some fixed blades. So 3.5 inches or less when the knife is closed. Let's talk about some of the advantages of smaller knives. One of the first things to think about are the legal advantages. A smaller knife generally is more likely to be legal than a larger knife. Now that's not always true, but usually when you look at legal regulations in different places, whether it's different countries or states, it's often connected to the size of the blade. There are other things to consider like the locking mechanism and things like that, but the size of the blade can be an advantage because you may be able to carry a knife in an area if it's small enough, as opposed to a larger knife. You might not be able to carry that knife legally. Another advantage of a smaller knife is that it may be less intimidating and less easy to see for certain people. And I'm not necessarily talking about hiding your knife, but there's some people who get really nervous even around just a pocket knife. And so if you got a smaller knife, maybe they won't notice it and get nervous. The other thing is if you want to go with kind of the gray man approach, living and dressing and kind of carrying yourself in a way that people wouldn't know that you've got a pocket knife on you, a smaller knife certainly is easier to conceal than a larger knife. The third thing I want to mention is the weight factor. Oftentimes when you get a bigger knife, usually it's going to be heavier because there's just more steel, there's more plastic, more G10, whatever it is. So you're going to have less weight when you have a smaller knife versus a larger knife. Now on the other side, there are some disadvantages, and I'm just going to mention two here quickly, and then we'll start taking a look at the knives. The first one is you generally can't use a smaller knife as aggressively as you can a larger knife. So if you got a bigger knife, you can usually use it for tasks that require a little more effort or aggressive use, and with a smaller knife you got to be a little bit more careful. One other disadvantage of a small blade is that when it comes to slicing and cutting, sometimes that's just harder to do with a shorter or smaller blade. So take a look at this Kershaw Shuffle, right? It's got a blade that's certainly usable, but if I had to do some real slicing with this, it might be hard to do it with this as compared to something like this SOG Trident. So if you have a bigger knife, obviously you can slice more, you can cut more, but again, comparing your sizes of these two knives, you can see that SOG is way bigger than the Kershaw Shuffle. There are pluses, there are minuses to each one, but I think there's some definite reasons why you might want to consider checking out and carrying a smaller EDC knife. Alright, let's start taking a look at the knives. First up here we have the Kershaw Shuffle. This is going to run you probably $12 up to maybe $20 or a little bit more. They do have this in a variety of different colors. Obviously you can see we have the black on black here. There is black with satin. There's that zombie green color. They now have it in kind of a coyote brown with a Tonto style blade. There's blue, there's purple, there's orange. So lots of different color options when it comes to the Kershaw Shuffle. Now this knife, actually, when it first came out, I saw it and I was like, that is just a really cool looking knife because it can still cut effectively because of that nice long belly. You can do plenty of slicing there, but at the same time, it's not a massive blade that you're going to be carrying around. A couple other things to note about it is that down here on the end, you do have a small, basically a flathead screwdriver, as well as something that can double for a lanyard hole. So you could run, a piece of paracord under there and have a lanyard on that. The other thing is that you do have a pocket clip on that side, and then here you have a built-in bottle opener. And if you've heard my theory on bottle openers, it feels like every multi-tool that there's a little bit of space, they're going to throw a bottle opener on. But hey, if you got a knife, it's got a little, basically a flathead screwdriver, you can cut, you can fix some things, and you got a bottle opener as well. Not a bad option for the price you're paying, around, give or take, $10 to $20. Next up here we have the Opinel N3. Opinel is a French company, and they make knives with, a lot of them have this wood handle, so kind of a classic look as far as, somebody wants to carry an old school rustic looking pocket knife, or, if they want a knife for getting out into the woods that has more kind of that classic bushcrafter feel. Opinel is a company you definitely want to check out. The thing that makes this knife so unique is just how small it is. Look at that. That thing is absolutely tiny. There's no locking mechanism, so you're basically going to swing the blade back into the handle, and that's what that is going to look like. And then when you want to take it out, there's a little nail nick right there, you can see. So get your nail in there, swing it out like so, and there you have it. This is beechwood as far as the handle, and this is the type of knife, like we had a family friend who would carry something like this around for opening up packages, mail, cutting twine, cutting some string, things like that. Tiny, tiny little knife, very, very sharp blade. I will tell you, these are easy to sharpen and they stay sharp for a long time. My brother, who actually, he lives in France right now, and he said this is, Opinel is a company, a lot of people who carry a pocket knife, this is what they carry around. So if you want a very small version of some of the classic Opinel knives, definitely check out the N3. The price point is going to be around probably $10, $11, $12, so not super expensive, but a cool little, tiny little pocket knife. Next up we have the Boker Nano. Your price point is going to be around $32, probably up to $45, depending on which one you pick up. There are a couple different versions. Mine is the lime green handle with a satin finish. You can get it with a lime green handle and a black finish, or a black handle and a satin finish. There's a bunch of different options out there, so a little bit more diversity when it comes to picking up this knife. One of the first things I noticed about this knife is just how ergonomic it was. So when I picked it up and held it the first time I saw this in a store, I just thought, yeah, that thing just, it falls into place nicely. I would have what I'd call large size hands, and even though my ring finger falls there and my pinky's completely off, still very, very comfortable. Looking at the back side, nice design on the pocket clip, so then just throw that together, put some intention in that, and then this is a frame lock, so fold it out of the way. That's what it looks like, all folded up. This is a cool little knife, you know, for an EDC knife. That's something a little bit different, but it's got a little flair because of that lime green. I really like this this Boker Nano, and again, lots of different options out there. If you want to get a different color, you can certainly check that out. There are other knives by Boker that are kind of in this, I guess I would say, in this family. They have the Boker Magnum Bulldog, and then the Boker Magnum, what they call Lil Friend, L-I-L Friend Micro, and both those are like, you know, $15 to $20, and in general the reviews on those have not been nearly as good as the Boker Nano. So if you're looking for something from Boker, smaller, compact, but you want something that's going to function well and is going to it's gotten good reviews and people seem to really like it, I definitely would encourage you to check out the Boker Nano. Next up here, we basically have a two-in-one. You've got a razor blade, and there's a metal section up here that's basically metal casing that kind of pinches together around the top of the blade. And then this is a hacksaw knife. Now these are pretty found at a variety of different retailers, probably going to run you less than $5, so not super expensive. But if you want something that's got a little bit more diversity and you want something with a very sharp blade, since this essentially is a razor blade, this might be the item that you want to go for. They do come in a variety of different colors, the same in green. Obviously we have the orange here as well. You're basically just going to fold these back in like that. There's nothing that's locking them out into their position, so you know, you want to swing this one out and then use it and then push it back in like that. And then you can see we've got on one side we got measurements for in your standard measurement system, and then on the other side in your metric system. One thing to note is that there's not any marking, so it doesn't say, you know, 1 millimeter, 1 centimeter, or, you know, 1-2 inches on this side. So if you get this, you probably want to take a Sharpie or something to mark out your the different lengths. Little hole here if you want to run a lanyard. This is kind of outside the box when it comes to, you know, a standard quote-unquote pocket knife. This is something a little bit different, but if you want something that stands out and you find that you could actually use, you know, 2 different blades like this, this could be a good option for you. To be candid with you, the main reason I would go with something like this is because I wanted to carry something with a razor blade. The hacksaw blade, it can work, but just because it's not super, you know, you don't have a super strong base here that it's connected to, so you want to be careful trying to hack through some rebar or something like that. It's just not going to work with this knife. But, you know, if you do want to carry a razor blade and then have an additional blade like this, also, this could be a good option for you, so check that out. Next up we have the CRKT Squid. They do have this in the straight up stainless steel. This is what they would call their black stonewash finish. Gonna run you probably $23, $24, $25. This is a Lucas Burnley design, and you can actually see on the back it does say Burnley design right underneath the phrase squid there. Frame lock. Nice little knife. Definitely got a little bit more weight than your standard, you know, small knife this size. Got your pocket clip there. It is not reversible, but this, I did find that this one actually really holds nice and securely in my pocket. Thumb studs for deployment. I would use my thumb, but right now, you can see probably, yeah, it's a little bit cracked there. I just busted it up because the weather's so cold, my hands are dry. But deployment is nice and easy. That's what it looks like. Got a little bit of texturing here, you know, so when you're actually holding onto the knife, you get some more solid control. Little jimping up top, and then just kind of a little bit there, right in the frame lock. I like this knife a lot. I was actually EDCing this the other day when I was out of town in a bigger city, and so this one is a little bit more discreet, but still gives me some nice, effective cutting power out of a knife. And as I mentioned, it's a little bit heavier, but just feels like it's a very solidly constructed knife. So the CRKT Squid, again, you can get it in the stonewash like this, or you can get it also in the regular stainless steel. Very cool knife. I've enjoyed EDCing this knife quite a bit. Here we're looking at the Schrade SCH-405, and the thing that makes this knife unique is that it has a ceramic blade. So you have a carbon fiber handle and a ceramic blade. That makes the knife very lightweight. If you haven't used a ceramic blade before, they are sharp and they stay sharp for a long time. So that's going to be a blade that you're not going to have to think about sharpening up a ton. The downside is ceramic is definitely not as strong as metal. So keep that in mind. But you're going to be paying around $24, $25, $26 for this knife. Nice design on this side of the knife. Got that hole for deploying the knife. Does say Schrade there. Really hard to see, but it says SCH-405 right there at the base of the blade. Pocket clip to certainly carry it in your pocket nice and securely. You can see it is a liner lock, not a frame lock, and that's what it looks like, all folded up. So if you're going to be using a knife in the woods to do a lot of cutting, even whittling, things like that, this is probably not going to be a knife for you. But again, if you're out in just everyday carry and you're thinking, I want a knife that can cut open some envelopes, cut open maybe some cardboard boxes, cut twine, cut string, maybe cut a little bit of rope, this could be a good option for you. Once again, the Schrade SCH-405. Cool little knife, ceramic and carbon fiber handle. What we have right here is the Cold Steel Mini Tough Light, and you can get this with the plain edge. You can also get it with a serrated edge. Let me just show you quickly here what the full-size one looks like compared to the Mini. So there's your full size, and there's your Mini underneath. So this one is definitely notably bigger. When I reviewed these ones a while ago, I think it was talking about both the large and the small. I was kind of calling them the tactical razor blade. So this is not something that you're going to get out into the woods and do some batoning with, but small knife, very sharp edge. This is Japanese Aussate stainless steel, which for around $20, I think you're getting quite a good deal with the Mini Tough Light. One thing I always liked about this knife is it feels super ergonomic. So you got your groove there, and then your groove here. Just very, very comfortable to hold the knife. The other nice thing about this is that if you got that straight edge for your slicing, we also have a nice tip there. So if you have to pierce into something and then do your slicing, certainly it's capable of doing that. Lock on the back here, so depress that, and then this will fold up like so. You do have that slot there if you want to run a lanyard of some sort, and then you've got your pocket clip there. So you can't adjust the pocket clip to the other side or top or bottom, but for 20 bucks to get Aussate steel, nicely made, very comfortable, very ergonomic, this is definitely going to be a solid utility knife. So if you're looking for something, maybe something like the Boker Nano I was showing you before, you like that style and that look, but you want something with basically a straight edge, then you want to look at this as opposed to the Nano, because this I think is going to function really effectively for those day-to-day utility tasks. Once again, the Cold Steel Mini Tough Light. This is the Screw Pop Tool Utility Knife 2.0, and I reviewed the 1.0. They made a couple changes between that one and this one. Essentially what you have here is a hole that you can put a key ring through. This little circle here is actually a magnet, and the magnet makes sure that the blade doesn't rattle around or move when this thing is hanging on your keychain. Now when you want to actually use the blade, you've got this little arm here. You're going to lift this up, slide the blade out, and then just line up the notch. If you just want a tiny bit of the blade, you would set it up like that. If you want a lot of the blade, you can push it out this far, put the arm down, and now you've got that much of the blade. One thing you note is that when it gets out further, there is a little bit of rattle. So my general recommendation would be probably keep it, maybe in the second one or the third one, and then you got your blade to use. One thing that's cool is that when the blade gets dull, toss it out. You can replace it with a new one. This will take both the 4-notch and the 2-notch razor blade options. And when you're done, lift the arm up, slide this back, put that down, and the magnet will keep the blade from moving. One thing I will note is that Cutlery Lover, who you definitely know on YouTube if you're a fan of knife reviews and stuff like that, he was saying that this arm popped up one time and this slid down and the blade was actually poking him a little bit, but with this new magnet there, even when this is lifted up, that's not coming out. So that's a nice addition in the 2.0 version. And also you've got this little cutout here. What's that? You guessed it. That is to open up bottle caps. So whenever you have space on a piece of metal, you definitely want to put a bottle cap opener. So that's what that's for. Put it on a keychain. This is the Screw Pop Tool Utility Knife 2.0. The last knife we're going to talk about is right here. Oh, what's that? You can't see it? Oh, I'm sorry. It's because my finger is covering it. This is the Spyderco Bug. This thing is tiny. This is definitely the smallest knife of all the knives that we looked at. To show you what it looks like in my hand. And the thing is redonkulously small. It's going to run you around 12, 13, 14 bucks. It does not have any locking mechanism. They're calling it a slip joint. So you're going to fold it back in like so. There is tension there, so when it comes out, it doesn't, I want to say it pops in, but it kind of clicks in a little bit here. And so that's what that looks like. You can see, got that Spyderco symbol there, your standard Spidey hole. Full flat grind. This is like the baby brother of the paramilitary, basically. Tiny little hole there if you want to run a lanyard. That is too small to put paracord through, but you could find something else that you want to, if you want to put through there. And you could certainly set this up to hang this off of your keychain. So that is a super compact knife. Let me just show you what it looks like in my hand again. That thing is extremely small. I actually showed this to my administrative assistant today, and she was like, "You've got to be kidding me." So this thing is tiny, but if you want to carry something by Spyderco and you want a very compact knife, this could be the one for you, and it's going to run you less than 15 bucks. So there you have it, our first rundown of some EDC knives. Now down in the comments below, we want to ask you to leave a comment and tell us which one of those knives you like best and tell us why. As always, thanks for checking out our videos here on YouTube. Please subscribe to Everyday Tactical Vids on YouTube if you haven't done so already. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, check us out on Instagram and Tumblr as well. Take care.